On News Hour tonight, police nab 3 over killing of housewife, 6 children in Kano. Katsina market spark economic rebound after years of banditry. Doctors seek government backing. Oversight as kidney dialysis fees drop 80%. On the foreign scene, South Africa declares a national disaster after deadly floods. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Now, Kano State Police Command has announced the arrest of 3 principal suspects believed to be behind the Nigeria-UAE family killings. Residents of the community endured a sleepless night of fear and sorrow after an entire household was wiped out in one of the state's most shocking attacks. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
With support from community members, security operatives carried out a sting operation between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., successfully apprehending the suspects. Those arrested include 23-year-old Umar Awalu, 40-year-old Isiaku Yakubu, and 21-year-old Yakubu Abdulaziz. Police say Umar Awalu, a nephew of the deceased, confessed to the crime and admitted the syndicate's involvement in other killings, including the murder and burning of 2 housewives at Tudunyola quarters.
Wannan yaro da muka kama shi ainihin yaron da matar take kiran sunansa wato Umar.
After the first arrest, we were able to apprehend the main suspect, the deceased nephew Umar, whose name she was heard calling. He was found in possession of her mobile phone. The ancient city of Kano awoke to tragedy on Saturday when assailants stormed the home of Haruna Bashir in Dorayi Chiranchi. His wife, 33-year-old Islamia teacher Fatima Abubakar, and 6 of their children were brutally killed. The victims include 17-year-old Maimuna, 16-year-old Aisha, 13-year-old Bashir, 10-year-old Abubakar, 7-year-old Farouk, and Abdusalam, who was barely 1.5 years old. Residents say the attackers broke into the residence using dangerous weapons. In a shocking twist, the youngest child was reportedly thrown into an open well within the compound.
Wani yanayi na rashin jin daɗi wanda bamu taɓa samun sa ba.
We have never experienced this kind of murder before. The community has been cooperating with the police, and I urge residents to understand that security begins with them before the police can step in. Some of the crimes in this area involve people from within, while Sabon Titi, being a busy hub for travelers, also poses challenges. We have tried our best to put in additional security measures. Residents describe the incident as one of the most horrifying tragedies in recent times in Kano. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
So joining us via phone call is security expert Major Yahaya Shinko, retired, to discuss more on Kano killings. Thank you for joining in, Major.
Thank you and good evening.
As a security expert, what's your take on the recent Kano killings and how can communities help tackle the situation?
Well, it is a pathetic situation, and honestly speaking, I think we should commend the men of the security that were able to at least fish out some of the culprits who are suspected of having committed that heinous crime. And for the communities, I think this has explained why there is need for the community policing, whereby people will coordinate between themselves to see that they ensure whoever comes within their community is somebody that they have known his whereabouts, that the place is coming from, what he has come to do within that area, and at least even in the daytime, it has shown very clearly that these people can grow at length to do whatever they want to do. So if not because of this effort being put by the security agencies, these people have gone undercover and nobody will be able to detect them, and they'll still continue to perpetuate this type of heinous crime.
Okay. The state government has launched an internal security outfit. Now, from your viewpoint, what's the next step to address this challenge?
Well, it is a good thing that the state government have timely launched that security outreach. And with this antecedent now, at least people should be able to give them support, make sure that whatever work they are within the community to do is being supported by the people. They should know that they are there for their safety. So whatever they'll need, they shouldn't wait for the government to provide for them alone. Let them equally contribute. Let there be volunteers that will work alongside with them. I think by this way, by the time that most of the people are going about their daily businesses, maybe in the offices, market, and what have you, there will be some people within the community that will be overseeing the in and out of whichever person that will be coming to that place. So I think the government of Kano State should also be commended for that outing. And it is expected other states, particularly the neighboring states, as for example, Kaduna State, Katsina State, Jigawa, and others should also emulate that.
Okay, what do you think are the police's biggest investigation challenges, and how can communities lend a hand?
Well, the security agencies are equal to the task. I have kept saying, times without number, that once they will be supported, they will be able to do their work effectively. They have been trying to do it, and once they will be provided or what they will need to do it, I'm sure I will not be having problems. As for example, you can see from the time this crime was committed to the time that these conflicts were brought to book or were apprehended. It's not just a wide gap, it's a very narrow, and if at least people will cooperate with them also, I'm sure we'll be having some relative peace around us.
Okay, Major, what strategies need to be put in place to prevent future attacks? And how can communities partner with security agencies to boost safety?
Well, in most cases, apart from the security agencies, we also have to cooperate with the traditional institutions, the traditional rulers. These are people that also have their way and links to the security agencies. Once within the community you have observed something that you think is suspicious, so the best thing is, if you can reach out to the security agencies directly, try and reach out to a community leader who is not you, and I'm sure with that you'll be able to reach out. It's another strategy. And equally also, we should be able to have a center within the community as a watch place, watch post, whereby the youth around the area will be monitoring the in and out of whoever is coming within that place. Let there be communication between them and the traditional rulers or the community, the regular security agencies around them. I think with this we'll be able to help the neighborhood watch, and we should be our neighbors' keepers. At least when you have a neighbor and you suspected or you had some noise coming out from his vicinity, you should be able to check or to inform some people that will likely go and see what exactly is happening in that place. Not that you have your neighbors, some problem will be happening to him and you don't even care to check. So we should be our neighbors' keepers also.
All right, thank you, Major Yahaya, for joining News Hour.
Thank you very much.
Well, moving on. One person was killed and two others injured in the early hours of Saturday when gunmen attacked Kasua Denkeli village in Barikin Ladi local government area of Plateau State, in what police described as a retaliatory attack linked in the rustling of 102 cows in neighboring Riam local government area. The attack, which occurred around 2:30 a.m., followed the earlier rustling of 102 cattle from Dansokoto in Ganawuri district of Riam local government area, an incident that has heightened tension along the Barikin Ladi Riam just south axis. Residents said the assailants stormed the community and opened fire on houses, killing one person on the spot and leaving two others with gunshot wounds. The injured victims were rushed to the Jos University Teaching Hospital for medical treatment, while the corpse of the deceased was deposited at the General Hospital morgue in Barikin Ladi for autopsy. Police sources confirmed the incident, saying a team led by Divisional Police Officer DPO of Barikin Ladi responded immediately after receiving a distress call. According to the police, investigations have commenced and efforts are ongoing to track down and arrest the perpetrators. Residents were urged to remain calm and cooperate with security agencies by providing timely and credible information. Witnesses said the attackers were heavily armed, forcing herders in the area to flee. As of time of filing this report, none of the rustled cattle had been recovered despite security alerts. Now, the Gombe state government says political will, strict adherence to the rule of law, and the adoption of modern animal husbandry practices are critical to ending farmer-herder conflicts in Nigeria. While inaugurating a white paper implementation committee aimed at addressing outdated grazing practices and protecting the environment as well as farming livelihoods, the state governor, Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya, insisted that the traditional systems of animal rearing can no longer be sustained. Hassan Lawankoli reports.
Governor Yahaya, who made this known during the formal inauguration of a high-level white paper implementation committee on grazing reserves, forest and game reserves, and cattle routes, explained that the committee is expected to translate the government policies into concrete and enforceable actions. According to the governor, the committee's inauguration followed the work of an earlier assessment committee established to examine challenges associated with grazing reserves, forest and game reserves, as well as cattle rules, and to propose practical and sustainable solutions.
If I say it is criminal for people that are in authority to allow such to happen, I think I am not wrong by saying so, because nearly a quarter of the, or a quarter already gone, of the 21st century gone, we don't have any reason whatsoever to allow our people to still maintain the traditional way, of maintaining our livestock, and also go out of our ways in order, to satisfy maybe the greedy needs of some of the elites amongst us.
Governor Inuwa Yahaya added that restoring lost and encroached grazing reserves and cattle routes remain central to protecting the livelihood of both farmers and herders. With over 80% of Gombe State's population engaged in crop and animal production, the governor said the government has a responsibility to safeguard lives, property, and economic productivity.
When the cows, cattle, livestock are allowed to do the normal thing without infringing on their reserves or grazing or whatever, there is tendency that they can produce milk, they will grow fat, it will give, in fact, employment and so many things. So the economy is going to be for good.
Some of the cattle routes, it has been encouraged, but some houses, some public facilities, some villages, you understand? So now we are trying to see how we can, find a solution without creating problem to those communities, because, in this kind of situation, we are in political era, so we have to work in tandem with the political strategies by trying to have some town halls meeting where necessary in terms of this encouragement.
The committee is expected to engage key stakeholders and roll out practical strategies for the effective implementation of the white paper, in line with the state government's commitment to improve security, food sufficiency, and sustainable development. The inauguration of the White Paper Implementation Committee marks another step by the Gombe State government toward lasting peace, enhanced security, and sustainable agricultural development. Hassan Lawankoli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
At least 2 people were killed and several others injured on Friday morning when suspected bandits attacked Tuge town in Musawa local government area of Katsina State. Residents said the assailant stormed the community around 7 a.m., firing sporadically and forcing people to flee for safety. Victims who sustained gunshot wounds are currently receiving medical treatment. The attack occurred despite ongoing peace agreements between Musawa local authorities and bandits groups operating in the area. Community leaders had hoped the deals would curb violence and enable displaced residents to return home. Security forces were alerted after the attackers withdrew, but residents questioned the effectiveness of the peace arrangement, noting that rural communities in Katsina State remain highly vulnerable to attacks. Still in Katsina, decades of banditry destroyed hundreds of villages and crippled social and economic infrastructure across the state, causing killings, loss of livelihoods, and mass displacement. Now, community-driven peace initiative between local authorities and former bandits are rekindling hope, restoring both social and economic life. in Bakiawa, a local community in Batagarawa local government area that saw its market close for months due to repeated attacks. Traders are now returning from across the state, reviving business activities. Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi reports.
From the livestock section to the slaughter slab and through vegetable, grain and other sections, Bakiawa's Wednesday weekly market is bustling once again. Businesses are fully operational, supporting and consolidating local economic gains. In the past, traders often closed early, fearful of attacks, running at losses. Today, with peace returning, traders move freely to and from the market, with commerce thriving despite occasional isolated security challenges. I want public conveniences and sanitation facilities. I also hope to see this livestock market expanded and improved. Revenue collection is nothing if the environment is poor. We pay whether we sell or not, but the facilities are lacking. Businesses are thriving here despite years of banditry, but we need more market stalls and sanitation facilities. We commend the Batagara Council chairman for his efforts, but more is needed. Bakiawa is the third largest market in Batagarawa after Ergamji and Ajiwa, contributing significantly to local government and state revenue. Commodities here are cheaper than in other areas, thanks to the market's strategic location in the heart of Katsina's central agricultural zone. However, traders raise concerns over the lack of toilet and sanitation facilities, which they say are essential for a better business environment. This is one of the three major markets in Batagarawa. Drainages and more stalls will improve businesses even more. Unlike before, traders now feel safer. Despite the peace deal with bandits, authorities must do more to ensure lasting peace, not only in Bazari, Jibia and frontline LGS, but across the region and Nigeria. Experts say that efforts to boost revenue from the informal sector will only succeed if rural markets are equipped with improved infrastructure to sustain accelerated economic growth. Abdullahi Isma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Away from that, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a long-wanted drug kingpin, Lekon Jimon, also known as Kamo, 12 years after his alleged involvement in the killing of 3 NDLEA officers. Jimo was arrested in Awode, Ogun State, following intelligence-led operations. A search of his hideout led to the recovery of 69 kilograms of skunk. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi said the suspect had been on the agency's wanted list since June 2014 after allegedly mobilizing armed thugs to attack officers during an arrest attempt. Babafemi added that in August 2023, NDLEA operatives recovered 1,922 kilograms of skunk from Jimo's Adodo residence, which was later forfeited to the federal government after he evaded arrest. He said further NDLEA operations led to the arrest of other suspects and the seizure of large quantities of illicit drugs, including skunk, tramadol and codeine syrup in Edo, Abuja, Lagos, Enugu and Delta states. Now, the Nasarawa State Police Command has rescued 17 suspected victims of human trafficking, comprising 11 boys and 6 girls aged between 10 and 19 years. The command's public relations officer, SP Ramhan Nansal, said the victims were intercepted at Sharp Kano in Karo local government area while traveling in a Volkswagen Sharon vehicle from Shandam, Plateau State to Kayama in Kwara State. According to the police, the victims claimed they were on their way to meet a man identified as Umaru, who allegedly promised them farming jobs in Kayama town. SP Nansal, however, said all efforts to contact the victims' parents or guardians, as well as Umaru, proved unsuccessful. He added that the Commissioner of Police, CP Shatima Jawro Muhammad, has ordered that the victims be taken into protective custody and directed a thorough investigation to identify and apprehend those involved in the suspected human trafficking network. The police command reaffirmed its commitment to protecting vulnerable persons and eradicating human trafficking in Nasarawa State. And now the Nigerian Air Force has killed over 40 terrorists in a coordinated airstrikes at Azir and Musaram areas of Borno State, disrupting planned attacks and supporting ground troops. According to a statement by NAV spokesman, Air Commodore Ehimen Ojedame, the strikes were carried out on January 15th and 16th by the air component of Operation Hadejia, based on actionable intelligence and in close coordination with troops in contact. He said NAV aircraft responded to a distress call at Azir, engaging terrorists attempting to withdraw and later neutralizing others trying to regroup under three cover through precision strikes. Reacting, the chief of the air staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, said the operation highlighted the effectiveness of intelligence-led air power and assured a sustained pressure on terrorist groups. Azir and Musaram in Damboa local government area remain major hotspots of Boko Haram and ISWAP activities. Now Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Academy and Abu Dhabi Ports Group have signed a landmark Memorandum of Understanding MOU to enhance cooperation in port development, maritime logistics and digital transformation. The agreement, signed during the recently concluded Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, marks a major milestone in Nigeria-UAE economic relations and underscores both nations' commitment to advancing mutual trade and investment interest. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adegboyega Oyetola led the Nigerian delegation, while the chairman of Abu Dhabi Ports Group, Muhammad Hassan, represented the group. The Director General and CEO of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dayo Moberiola, was also present. NIMASA's Deputy Director and Head of Public Relations, Osagie Edward, said the MOU forms part of broader trade and investment engagements between the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates. Following the signing, the Nigerian delegation briefed President Bola Tinubu on the strategic importance of the partnership, which is expected to catalyze growth in Nigeria's maritime and blue economic sectors. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Doctors seek government backing. Oversight as kidney dialysis fees drop 80%. More news when we return. Do stay with us.
Mark your calendar this January for the 23rd Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Nigeria's Fourth Republic. What is working and what is not? Under the distinguished chairmanship of His Excellency Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, former President of the Nigerian Senate. Special guest of honor, His Royal Majesty Oba Rashidi Adeolu Ladoja, the Olubadan of Ibadan. Guest speakers, His Excellency Malam Nasser El-Rufai, former Governor of Kaduna State. Honorable Sunday Dari, former Minister of Youth and Sports and Special Advisor to the President on Public Communications. Honorable Nenna Elendu Ukeje, former member, House of Representatives, Youth and Gender Advocate. Date, 22nd January 2026. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Kado Expressway, Abuja. It is about power, politics, and the people. You can watch it online, on air, and across all Media Trust platforms. Don't miss out. Attendance is free.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Police nab 3 over killing of housewife, 6 children in Kano. Katsina markets spark economic rebound after years of banditry. Now moving on to more stories. The Northern Elders Forum, NEF, has faulted the federal government's decision to locate Nigeria's proposed gold refinery in Lagos State, insisting that the move undermines constitutional equity and economic justice. In an open letter, the forum said Nigeria's major gold deposits are in northern states, arguing that citing the refinery in Lagos contradicts the principles of federal character, derivation, and inclusive development. NEF warned that extracting resources from the north while locating value addition and industrial jobs elsewhere deepens regional inequality and weakens national cohesion. The group called for a decentralized refining framework, demanding that at least one gold refinery be located within the North Gold Producing Corridor, while cautioning that continued concentration of strategic assets in Lagos could fuel resentment and instability. So joining us via Zoom is Shuaibu Idris to discuss on the gold refinery siting in Lagos. Welcome, Shuaibu Idris.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So now what do you make of the merits of the arguments by the Northern Elders Forum?
Well, I think it is a welcome intervention from elders of the North or elders from the North, Nigerian elders, because they are not just Northern elders, but they are elders of Nigeria. What they are calling for is, fundamental issue of equity, fairness, and justice. Watchers of Nigerian history will agree with us that when oil was, discovered in Nigeria, the first refinery that was ever established in Nigeria was the Port Harcourt refinery. A second refinery was added in Port Harcourt, and a third refinery, all for crude oil and petrochemical processing, were all sited in the Niger Delta region before a fourth refinery was established in Kaduna. I mean, one will argue that if history is a book that, current players will be looking at, we would have expected that the Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should have copied or looked at that document of history and say, okay, let us follow this, route. However, one will also want to fundamentally draw the attention of us Northerners, not just Northerners, but Nigerians of all shades of opinion. Why are we sitting down and not taking the bull by the horn to, for example, say challenge? When I say challenge, I mean money-wise, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, just like what Alhaji Dr. Aliko Dangote has done with the oil refinery. Yes, the federal government is citing a gold refinery in Lagos. So what? Maybe the Northern elders should begin to think of where are the Indimis of this world? Where are the Aliko Dangotes of this world? Where are the Abdul Samadu of this world? Where are the T.Y. Njuma of this world? Where are the Thomas of this world that have resources and they are people of the North, and they can put heads together to have a world-class refinery that can rival the one that is being proposed by government, so that the Northerners themselves can have a refinery that can be sited within the enclave where, the natural resources, be it lithium, gold, or other solid minerals that are being mined in northern Nigeria.
Okay, Shuaibu, given that Lagos and Ogun constitute more than 50% of industries in Nigeria, is there no economic advantage to the proposed move?
Well, I think it's no question of the location, the locational factor of, say, several industries in Abeokuta, Ogun, and Lagos axis. But you know, when a city is sited in a coastal, environment, chances are the city might have a seaport, and therefore export and import can easily take place with relative smoothness, logistics, and other exigencies involved in manufacturing. The only reason why Lagos is commercial hub and nerve center of Nigeria is because of fundamentally 2 or 3 advantages. Number one, the fact that it has 2 or 3 seaports, the Apapa Port, the Tinkan Island, and Lily Pond, and also because it was originally the political capital of Nigeria. To say that because there are several industries within Ogun and Lagos state, therefore we should have another gold refinery, I think is standing on logic. Yes, the financial nerve center of the country is Lagos, where virtually all, if not most of the financial institutions, be them banks, pension fund administrators, custodians, and what have you, are located in Lagos. But that does not necessarily mean that everything has to be within the confines of Lagos, Ogun axis, at Ibadan, Lagos, Ogun, Ibadan, or Oyo state axis. I think there is need for equity, fairness, and equilibrium development in Nigeria to take place, so that industries should be cited pan-Nigeria, whether in the eastern Nigeria, the southwestern Nigeria, southeastern, the central, and what have you. But let's also not forget the fact that gold is also being mined or located within the axis of Abeokuta and Ibadan. So yes, preponderance of gold is higher in the north, and therefore it's naturally should host the gold refinery. But there are a bit of gold also being found around, the southwestern axis in Nigeria.
All right, Shuaibu Idris, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a good evening.
Reacting, the federal government described as unfortunate the claims by the Northern Elder Forum that a private sector-driven initiative in the mining sector was being framed as a regional agenda, insisting that it has zero equity in the gold refinery and only provides an enabling environment for investors. Speaking with Daily Trust on Sunday night, Shegun Tomori, spokesman to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, said the gold refinery was neither initiated nor established by the federal government.
A private sector, we cannot determine as federal government where a private sector decides to site whatever they decide to cite. And it's totally wrong, unfair, and even delusional for anybody to claim that federal government or this administration is intent on citing everything in Lagos or whatever they are insinuating. Because we have more factories in the northern part of Nigeria. As we speak, we have 3 factories of lithium factories in lithium and still counting. The first 2 are operational. The third one, a $600 million lithium factory, which we announced last week, is ready for commissioning. Is in Nasarawa State, not central Nigeria. In Kaduna, we have an iron ore processing factory by the African Natural Resources Mining Limited. A multi-million-dollar iron ore processing factory is in Kaduna State. As I speak, I just returned from the Future Minerals Forum alongside with the minister. The chairman of Asba Lithium Factory, lithium processing plant 2 in Abuja, outskirts of Abuja. He showed me, the level of construction and everything. And I think if they're not started production, they are of production, and they will also be commissioned. And we have a lot. Kaduna State is doing a lot, with the Mineral Resources Development Company of Kaduna State. They are doing a lot in mineral resources and all that. We have in Kaduna, we have in Lithium, we have in Abuja, we have in Niger, we have across the northern states. So it is really preposterous for anybody to claim that the Tinubu administration has either a hidden agenda to cite everything in Lagos or anything like that. It's totally untrue. We've extended collaboration. My minister, Dr. Dialysis, has extended collaboration to all the 36 states governors, of the federation. He has done what we call cooperative federalism, that encourages states to apply for mining license and operate as limited liability companies. And states have been doing that, across board, states in the north, states in the south, and everything. But whatever the enterprise of a private sector, we as the federal government, our job is to provide an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
Well, that is a spokesman to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, speaking with Clement Oloyede of Media Trust. So joining us via Zoom is an entrepreneur and... all right, moving on. It has been a year since the federal government approved an 80% reduction on kidney dialysis in all federal hospitals, but questions remain about the real impact of the policy on Nigerians living with kidney disease. Speaking with medical practitioners in Lagos, they agree the initiative approved by President Bola Tinubu was intended to drastically cut dialysis costs and improve access to life-saving treatment. However, lack of monitoring and inadequate support for dialysis professionals is limiting the policy's effectiveness. The report.
In 2024, the federal government announced a major relief for Nigerians battling kidney disease, an 80% reduction on dialysis treatment. The policy aimed to reduce the cost of each dialysis session from 50,000 naira to 12,000 naira, offering hope to thousands of patients who often require multiple treatments per week. Implementation was set across 6 geopolitical zones in selected federal medical institutions and officially launched in January 2025 at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi State. Speaking with health practitioners in Lagos, many noted that not all designated hospitals have enough dialysis machines. Those with machines often lack trained personnel, and the absence of government monitoring and support has hindered the program's success.
I can say that is just mercenary, because the main fact that some hospitals that is government hospitals don't even have dialysis machine. They don't even have the center for dialysis. Even those ones that have it, either the machine is not functioning well or that there's no adequate power supply. And the government that does that, saying that they are giving 80%, did they follow it up? They don't monitor it, whether they are doing it or not. Because if they don't follow up, even if they have the equipment for it, they will turn it to individual use. They will not abide with what the government says because nobody is monitoring them.
Like the impact, the 80% reduction, it is not even working because most people like they are going for private, so indirectly it is not even working. Because even in the government sector, government are still charging money for it. So the 80% that the government did is not even working at all.
As kidney disease cases rise in Nigeria, the success or failure of the 80% subsidy will determine the survival and quality of life of thousands of patients. For many, the policy is not delivering relief. Patients continue to struggle under poor funding and implementation challenges.
I don't think there's any positive impact that has been added to Nigerians for this 80% reduction. Because if the people are going to private hospitals to get dialysis and the government is not working, so what is the essence of the 80% reduction? So in Nigeria, it's not adding any value to us. So Mr. President needs to do more on health issues.
The President went ahead to say that he has reduced 80% of kidney dialysis. And every day, there are a lot of things that are going on in this country that are increase the risk of kidney issues.
The federal government maintains that the dialysis subsidy is part of a broader effort to improve access to affordable healthcare. However, for patients who rely on regular treatment, consistency, transparency and adequate support at designated centers are crucial for the initiative to truly save lives. The issue, experts say, is not just about announcing healthcare policies, but ensuring they are fully implemented, properly funded and supported with the necessary tools and personnel. As Nigerians continue to monitor the kidney dialysis subsidy, attention now turns to how the federal government addresses concerns around access, transparency and capacity at the centers.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has filed a 3-count criminal charge against Mike Ozekhome, SAN, over alleged fraud linked to a London property. In the charge filed at the Abuja High Court, the ICPC accused Ozekhome of receiving a property at 79 Rondell Avenue, London, in August 2021, allegedly from one Shani Tali, an act it said constitutes a felony under the ICPC Act. The commission also alleged that the senior lawyer forged and used a Nigerian passport bearing Shani Tali's name to support claims of ownership of the property. ICPC said the offences are punishable under the relevant provisions of the Corrupt Practices Act and the Penal Code of the FCT. And on the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara says his administration remains resolute in maintaining peace and security despite recurring political distractions. Speaking at the grand finale of the 2026 Port Harcourt Polo Tournament, he assured that the state remains safe for residents, visitors and global investors.
Amid the thundering hooves and cheering crowds at the 2026 Port Harcourt Polo Tournament, Governor Fubara took center stage to reaffirm his authority as the leader of the coastal state. He emphasized that his primary responsibility is the protection of lives and property, vowing never to support any action that compromises public safety. The incident-free tournament, he noted, is a clear signal that Rivers State remains secure for residents and visitors alike.
I'm here. I'm still the governor of Rivers State, and we will continue to do what we have promised the Rivers people that we will do. And I'm really happy that you had your tournament for 1 week, and the president boldly telling the world that there was no incident. It shows that we are working and Rivers State is safe. That is the most important thing. And that is the basic responsibility of government.
The governor also addressed the state's political climate. He expressed disappointment that political tensions have overshadowed the tournament for 3 consecutive years, but insisted that governance would not be derailed. To demonstrate his commitment to local development, Fubara announced plans for a state-backed upgrade of the Port Harcourt Polo Club's facilities, ensuring the sport and community continue to strive.
We must carry out our responsibility as government, and we must continue to support everyone who means well for Rivers State. For all our guests, enjoy our state. Take home the story that it is not what you hear in social media or what they tell you in this European media. Rivers State is safe. For me, the life and property of everybody living and doing business here is the most important thing to me. I will not, for any reason, support directly or indirectly any act that will endanger the life of anyone.
As the 2026 tournament concludes, Governor Fubara's message is clear. While political games may continue, his focus remains firmly on the development of the state infrastructure and, most importantly, the safety and security of the people of Rivers State.
A brand new Lexus 350 en route to its owner was involved in a head-on collision with a passenger-laden vehicle along Ozekhome Road in crossing.
This is an immigration checkpoint at under Ozekhome local government. New car.
Other vehicles reportedly injured, some of whom
New motor.
to a nearby hospital for treatment.
Face-to-face accident. The immigration checkpoint.
The accident has raised concerns about road safety.
This is the number plate of the Lexus. It's still even with the car dealer number.
Authorities are investigating the cause
Lexus 350.
of urging drivers to exercise
This immigration checkpoint. This checkpoint. This is immigration checkpoint.
a total loss. And then the federal government has expressed condolences to the governments and people of South Africa, Mozambique and Zimbabwe following the tragic loss of lives in recent devastating floods. As of Friday, more than 100 people had reportedly died and thousands displaced across parts of southern Africa after weeks of torrential rainfall that cut off entire communities. Weather services have issued a further alert, raising the fears of additional flooding. In a statement on Sunday in Abuja, Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kimebi Ebenfa commiserated with the affected countries over the immense human and material losses, including damaged roads and bridges, disrupted agricultural production, and displaced populations. The statement also noted a secondary humanitarian impact, such as food insecurity, disease outbreaks, and increased vulnerability of women, children, and other at-risk groups. Nigeria called for strengthened regional cooperation, early warning systems, climate adaptation strategies, and sustained international support to mitigate the effects of climate-related disasters. And in business, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have expressed relief over the recent drop in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, commonly known as cooking gas. Speaking to newsmen on Sunday in Abuja, residents urged the federal government to sustain the reduction, saying it will ease the financial burden on households. Victoria Aheneku, a civil servant, described the reduction as a positive development, noting its potential benefits for both consumers and the economy. She called for further price cuts, saying many Nigerians still find cooking gas unaffordable and have resorted to costly alternatives like charcoal. Similarly, businesswoman Mary Olobeyo welcomed the drop but emphasized the need for sustainable pricing, pointing out that transportation, storage, and retail costs also affect the final price. On the foreign scene, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud visited Las Anod on Friday, marking the first time a Somali head of state has entered the city in over 40 years. Las Anod, the provincial capital of Seoul, is claimed by the breakaway region of Somaliland. Somalia's government regained control of the city in 2023 after deadly clashes with Somaliland forces and pro-Mogadishu militias, ending Somaliland's hold since 2007. The visit underscores Mogadishu's renewed diplomatic focus on the northeast state, which includes Seoul, Sanag, and Kine territories, also claimed by Somaliland. The trip comes amid heightened tensions following Israel's official recognition of Somaliland, a move strongly opposed by Mogadishu and much of the international community. Still on the foreign scene, South Africa on Sunday declared a national disaster following weeks of heavy rains and storms that have battered the region, destroying homes, killing dozens and displacing thousands, including in neighboring Mozambique, the northeastern Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces in South Africa were the hardest hit, with rivers bursting their banks and entire neighborhoods submerged. Flooding also forced the closure of Kruger National Park and the evacuation of visitors. Mozambique has faced severe devastation as well, with rivers sweeping away homes and leaving residents stranded on rooftops and trees. At least 8 deaths have been confirmed since December 21st, though more people are feared missing. In one notable case, a woman gave birth on a roof while awaiting rescue in Gaza province. South Africa rescue teams were sent to southern Mozambique after a car carrying 5 members of a mayoral delegation was swept away in Chokwe, 200 kilometers north of Maputo. Mozambican authorities reported that over 173,000 people have been affected nationwide. On sports, Africa's top para-badminton player Eniola Bolaji claimed gold at the 2026 Egypt International Championship on Sunday, January 18th, defeating world number 7 Halime Yildiz on Turkey 2-0 at the new Capital Indoor Hall in Cairo. The Paralympic bronze medalist opened her campaign with a 2-0 win over Yildiz, followed by a 2-0 victory against India's Tulika Jadgav in the second round. She then overcame India's Manasi Girish Chandra Joshi 2-0 and defeated Shivam Yadav Niraj 2-0 in the semi-finals before her final triumph. President of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Obi, praised Bolaji's consistency and her role in putting Nigeria on the global map. He highlighted her impressive 2025 record, where she won nearly all available gold medals and expressed confidence in her continued success in 2026. Obi also commended the team's sponsors, including Gig Logistics and the National Sports Commission, for their support, assuring that Bolaji will continue to perform at her best in upcoming tournaments. Still on sport, Hadejia, one of Nigeria's ancient cities, has taken a bold step onto the global cultural and sporting stage with the hosting of the Maiden Renewed Hope International Horse Racing Festival. The historic event marked the official opening of the Hadejia International Racecourse and attracted participants from within Nigeria and across West and Central Africa. Trust TV's correspondent Ali Rabiu Ali attended the event, and here is his report.
Hadejia, a city known for its deep-rooted traditions and love for horses, came alive as it hosted the Maiden Renewed Hope International Horse Racing Festival, a landmark event that has placed the ancient town on the international sporting and cultural map. The 3-day festival, held from January 14th to 17th, 2026, marked the official inauguration of the Hadejia International Racecourse and the first international standard horse racing competition ever staged in the town. The national coordinator of the Horse Racing Federation of Nigeria says the festival is part of efforts to expand horse racing beyond its traditional stronghold and promote it across the federation.
Now, as you can see, we are in Hadejia town and Hadejia International Racecourse to start a maiden edition of an international race. And this is the first time this kind of race is happening in Hadejia. This is a virgin race course. We are just opening it for the first time. And then I can assure you that for now, as at today, this is one of our best race courses in the country. So we're very happy to have Hadejia as a racing destination in Nigeria.
The Speaker of Katsina State House of Assembly, Nasiru Yahya Daura, commended the organizers, describing the event as impressive, festive, and capable of strengthening unity among people and communities. Daura expressed satisfaction with the level of organization and the atmosphere of the event, noting that it brought together friends, families, and horse racing enthusiasts from different backgrounds.
I'm here witnessing the final competition for the horse racing federation. So how do you see that? Very interesting. I'm so happy to see a lot of friends and families that we have spent so many years, and now I'm here with them, with the horses. Very interesting. We have a good relationship, and we are now hoping to play a very good championship in this tournament.
Participants from Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, Cameroon and Chad competed at the festival, making it a truly international gathering and a platform for cultural exchange. Beyond competition, the festival celebrates culture, history, and identity. Organizers say horse racing remains deeply rooted in northern Nigeria's heritage and Islamic history. The competition produced thrilling moments and new champions. In the first round, Mutar Saleh from Niger Republic emerged winner, clinching a car and 2 motorcycles, while Bashir Suleiman from Daura Emirates in Katsina State also emerged winner in the second round, taking home a car and praising the spirits of sportsmanship. I thank God for this victory. This is the best and most organized horse racing festival I have attended. It is a game and God made it possible for me to win. I'm very happy. I thank God. With plans underway to make the Renewed Hope International Horse Racing Festival an annual event, Hadejia is positioning itself as a major hub for traditional sports, cultural tourism and international cooperation. An impressive depot for a festival that blends culture, competition and economic opportunities, placing Hadejia family on the world stage. From Jigawa, Ali Rabiu Ali, Trust TV News.
With that, we have come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. I am Maria Medris. Thank you for watching.